This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek a medical professional or healthcare provider if you're seeking any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Thanks, everyone.
And I'm going away. Or maybe not that one. Hi. And I always do that. I'm always clapping. I don't know why. As you could tell, I am okay, my hair is different and it was from my own doing, but we're gonna work with it. I feel like I'm a 90s mom now. Anyway, but the point is not my hair. The point is that I am doing my first solo podcast episode. Ta-da! Welcome to Funny Medicine. I'm your host, Julia. Julia. Oh my God, I can't even do this alone. As you could tell, I'm alone today. If it's your first time seeing this, typically right here on my left side with Evie. She's the doctor of the pod, but she got COVID, unfortunately. So just so we don't run behind, I decided to go ahead and tackle this episode on my own. And I had asked you all on our socials if I should or if I shouldn't, and you guys had a resounding yes that I should. So here I am. Now, I don't know what I'm doing with this. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my hands other than like scroll through the show notes. And yeah, so this is interesting and awkward and all in one. Anyway, let's crack into it. Today I'm going to be talking about AI and mental health. I think it's like a pretty important topic, kind of a trending topic out there because I've been seeing all of this talk on like socials and even the news and whatnot about AI going into the mental health scene with people using ChatGPT and like other AI LLM for therapy talk and whatnot. And there's mixed reviews on that. Some people think it's good. Some people think it's bad. Some people, like myself, are kind of in the middle. And because of that, let's dive into it and see if it's one way or the other or what we can expect from this. I think it's a real interesting topic that a lot of people are kind of dipping their toes into. Let's start off. Artificial intelligence is no longer just lurking in the background of healthcare. It's jumping straight into therapy session. So in 2025, the debate over AI mental health is hotter than ever. I'm sure that you guys have seen it, especially if you use ChatGPT. At least I have been tempted every now and then to, if I'm having a day and I want to vent to someone, I have been tempted to like use ChatGPT, but I just haven't yet. If you have, let me know and let me know what you think of it. I mean, I kind of use it like an upgraded Google and helping me with notes and stuff like that. And it's really, really useful in that sense. And I love the tone that it talks to me like that with, I really am having hardships with my hair. I'm sorry. And so I can only imagine if I like the tone of it with like in a back and forth working type of scenario, like I could imagine that I would like it as a therapist, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Some say chatbots. Oh, I don't have Evie here to help me with words today, so this is gonna be interesting. Yeah. And the first one, chatbots, I'm having a hard time saying that one. And even when I practiced reading this episode on my own, I was like, I want to say chatbot or chatbox. I want to say chatbox, but it's chatbot. Oh, so anyway, some say that chatbots and smart apps could fix our mental health crisis, which is true. We have way too little mental health providers out there, way too little. And some insurance companies cover therapy or psychiatry or psychologists, anything like that, counselors, whatnot. But a lot of health companies don't. A lot of insurances don't either. And then it racks up a pretty hefty bill. I could see how it could help with that. Anyway, so more people helped, fewer people waiting, lower costs, right? If we use each chat bots. But others say that handing your darkest secrets, your very vulnerable personal information to an algorithm is asking for trouble, right? So today I'll unpack what AI mental health really means, where it started, how it works, what science says, who's regulating it, and how it's reshaping how we think about care for depression, anxiety, stress, loneliness, and so many more things in regards to mental health. Think of this as like kind of like a crash course in essence, whether you're curious to go ahead and use it as a patient, or you're a skeptical therapist because you're in the biz, or you're just someone like me that you just kind of want to know what's going out there with this, because we're talking about robots here doing a, a role that's always been done by people. So what exactly is AI in mental health? Put simply, it's using AI, artificial intelligence, currently software that learns from massive data sets to help people cope with mental health struggles. Typically, this means chatbots. So these are text-based companions that mimic a counselor's tone and techniques. Think of ChatGPT, Claude, all these other ones. I think Google Gemini, all those other ones. Some are advanced enough to feel conversational and comforting, at least for everyday worries. But AI's role isn't limited to chatbots alone. Newer platforms can analyze voice recordings, picking up like just even small, tiny, subtle signs of stress or depression. Monitor social media posts. I'm sure that you probably have seen this already out there, because I have, flagging risky behavior, patterns or worrying shifts in tone. Track biometric data too. So using your wearables like your Apple iWatch or your Fitbits or whatnot, or the ring, I forget the name of it, but it's become very popular. So using all those types of wearables to connect to sleep, heart rate, or activity, and this all could relate to your mental state. They could also help guide clinical decisions, helping psychiatrists choose or adjust for treatment plans. For example, some companies are exploring AI triage assistants that analyze a patient's intake form and suggest which therapist is best suited for their needs. See, that's pretty cool, because then I feel like that would help with efficiency. And it's not just like taking over a whole role. It alleviates the workload of therapists, and it kind of helps in the patient too in being able to find an appropriate therapist sooner and quicker, instead of a whole back and forth, or I didn't jive right with that one, so I need to switch and all of that. Then it gets awkward. So maybe it could help in that sense. So yes, it's bigger than just a chatbot asking, how are you feeling today? Let's go a little bit about the history. Where did this all start and whatnot? I kind of like throwing in history into these if you've seen other episodes of ours. In 1966, MIT professor Joseph Weizenbaum, I'm hoping I said it right. I Googled it to see how it's said, and that's the closest I could get to it. Anyway, so codes up ELIZA, all right, it's all in caps, ELIZA, as the first computer therapist. Weizenbaum named it after Eliza Doolittle, the working class flower seller in George Bernard Shaw's play Pygmalion, which inspired My Fair Lady. In Pygmalion, Professor Henry Higgins transforms Eliza Doolittle's speech and manners so that she can pass as an upper class lady. The whole story is about how language can shape identity, turning simple words and mimicry into something that seems refined or intelligent. I mean, come on, we could think of a lot of people that use this, that are like this, not even just in language these days, but back then it was just based on language. Anyway, and I'm talking about the play. So Weizenbaum thought that was a perfect metaphor for his chatbot. Eliza didn't understand the person typing to it. It just mimicked human conversation patterns, giving the illusion of intelligence and empathy by cleverly reflecting the user's words back at them. The name was a nod to the idea to transformation through language. It's kind of poetic, but also a sly warning. Eliza sounded like a therapist, but it was really just parroting your words right back at you, okay? It wasn't really analyzing and trying to help you. It was just mimicking. So that's a reminder of a polished accent doesn't equal real understanding and what you really need from therapy, from an actual therapist. Eliza asked open-ended questions and parroted your replies. It was just, I mean, this was back in 1966, right? So it's primitive, but it was oddly effective. Many people, including Weizenbaum's secretary, poured their hearts out to this clunky text program. The term ELIZA effect was born, and we tend to attribute it to human traits to machines that mimic us. So, like when ChatGPT or whatever is like, yeah, now I have something in my eye. See, all these things are like easily buffed away because Evie would be talking right now, and I'm like, yeah, well, I have something in my eye, or yeah, look, I'm gonna take a sip of my Celsius. But doing this alone, it's like, I don't know. Anyway, oh my gosh, I have like the itchiest eye. Anyway, after that, the idea hibernated. That was in 1966. We're jumping over to the 80s and 90s, where they focused on diagnostic expert systems. AI that could help diagnose diseases, but not just feelings, which is kind of mind blowing because I didn't know that in the 80s and the 90s, like growing up, I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 89. I didn't know that there was like AI being trained and being made for this already. I thought that was like a new thing that just started happening. So this kind of was mind blowing to me. Then came smartphones and instant messaging. In the 2010s, mental health apps exploded. Mindfulness timers, CBT, workbooks, self-help tools. But the real leap when NLP, its natural language processing, got good enough to hold a two-way conversation. Yeah, that's your ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all that. Enter Wobot, WISA, and others. Wobot's early trials showed promising drops in mild anxiety and depression. COVID-19 supercharged the usage of all of these bots, right? Because therapists were booked, people were isolated, and bots were just available and awake 24/7. By 2023, major mental health organizations and tech giants were investing millions into AI support tools. Now, the biggest healthcare systems like the UK's NHS are putting these bots front and center. It's a comeback story that ELIZA's creator, Weizenbaum, never probably imagined would be at this scale. So why is it making headlines today? It's one of the reasons why I decided to cover this, because it is going everywhere. And it's partly due because of what I just mentioned, because of the NHS's decision in using chatbots now in the UK. So let's go ahead and get into that. The NHS's new digital front door plan means millions in England can use AI chatbots to get 24/7 help without waiting weeks for a therapist. If you've tried finding even any type of provider these days, and it's here in the States at least, it could take you months to find a provider, and therapists are few and far in between, at least in-person ones. You could have better luck in getting a sooner appointment in telehealth ones like Talkspace, BetterHelp, and whatnot. But if you want to do like an in-person therapy session, good luck even finding one. At least that's been my experience. And that's not even only here in Miami. It was like in San Antonio, Texas. It was the same. It's just, there aren't enough. There aren't enough mental health care providers, at least here in the US. And I guess England is going through the same thing. So back to this. Self-referrals, automated. Here we go. Automated check-ins and hybrid AI and human services aim to cut wait lists and reach people who've been left behind. So other countries are testing similar ideas, like Sweden. Their public health system is piloting AI triage tools. Singapore's government partnered with WISA for youth stress management. And India's booming mental health app market is seeing AI-based Hindi chatbots go mainstream. So now over here in the US, we're kind of like pumping the brakes. Sweden, the UK, India, they're going full steam ahead and implementing these into like their government. And here in the US, we're pumping the brakes. Trigger warning for this following section because it's the reason why there's controversy and one of the reasons why the US is pumping their brakes into having AI just part of their taking over AI in like the government sense for therapy and whatnot, like these other countries are doing. In early 2023, a shocking story surfaced in Belgium. A young father struggling with severe climate anxiety and depression turned to an AI chatbot for comfort. One of those that is a conversational companion, and it was developed by a startup called Chai Research. The bot was never marketed as a therapist, but was designed to be a quote unquote personal friend that chats like a human 24/7. According to his widow, the man spent 6 weeks in an intense back and forth with the chatbot, which he named ELIZA. It's kind of an eerie nod to the original 1960s computer therapist. Over time, he reportedly confided increasingly dark thoughts about ego collapse, hopelessness, and even unaliving himself. Instead of flagging danger or offering crisis resources, the AI fed his despair. In transcripts the family shared with local reporters, the bot allegedly romanticized his unaliving. I have to say unaliving and words like that because if not, Daddy YouTube, it doesn't like it. And I need the views. Unaliving ideations, telling him things like, we'll be together in paradise. This is coming from the chatbot. And even pushing him to quote unquote sacrifice himself for the earth. His wife found out too late. He already had unalived himself. She went to the public with the story because she wanted the world to understand. He wasn't just talking to himself, he was getting emotional reinforcement from a machine designed to sound caring, but programmed without any safety rails to stop these dangerous thoughts from like further developing and unfortunately going into becoming a scenario like this. The case exploded in European media, triggering urgent calls for new AI accountability laws. And then next we have the NEDA debacle. I don't know if I said that. I feel like Evie's not here, but I kind of hear her being like debacle, and I'm like, I really think it's debacle. It can't be debacle. Debacle. NEDA, so NEDA in caps, and it's a chatbot that told people with eating disorders to restrict calories. Yeah. So around the same time, the National Eating Disorders Association, aka NEDA, in the US tried to cut costs by shutting down its human-run helpline. Unfortunately, something similar is happening these days. The main support line for people in crisis, and replacing it with a bot called Tessa. NEDA promised Tessa would deliver evidence-based support 24/7, but almost immediately people noticed something horrifying. When asked for advice, Tessa would suggest weight loss tips like tracking daily calories, using scales, or planning restrictive meal plans. Textbook red flags for anyone with anorexia, bulimia, or binge eating struggles. This wasn't a small glitch. It flipped the entire purpose of the helpline upside down. Within a week, furious users, some in recovery, some healthcare professionals, blasted NEDA on social media. The screenshots went viral. One user wrote, "I asked for help because I felt triggered. The bot told me to lose weight. Is this a sick joke?" You imagine? Like, I mean, it's literally doing the opposite of what it was supposed to be doing. Like, it's, I understand. I understand, like, why you would be so upset. Experts called it reckless. Why can't I say that right? And dangerous it truly is. Facing a tidal wave of backlash, NEDA shut Tessa down overnight and scrambled to apologize. But the damage was done. It became a case study in what happens when you swap trained human counselors for an untested bot just to save a buck. I feel like we need to put that, what happened, in the spotlight a little more. I know that this was before and our AI technology has come ways since then because ChatGPT, as an example, is like evolving super, super fast. New versions of it are continuously coming out, I think. But either way, as advanced as AI is getting these days, it's undeniable that it needs guardrails. It's still, yeah, it can't just go just unsupervised for then you risking something like this to happen with people that are already, they're asking for help, they're looking for help, and then they're getting the exact opposite of that. Yeah, we gotta be careful with that. My opinion. Both of these incidents blew up the myth that AI chatbots can quote unquote handle it without guardrails. Clearly, they can't. They forced lawmakers to admit AI can accidentally encourage unaliving or self-harm if nobody checks its outputs. These bots don't really know when a line has been crossed, and companies can cut corners or rush rollouts without clear ethical standards. Now regulators are stepping in. Nevada AB 406, it's a bill that passed already and it goes into full effect on July 1st, 2025. That's tomorrow, actually, for me. Right now, it's June 30th as I'm recording this. And it bans companies from marketing an AI as a licensed therapist, period. So, what's a violation if they do so? 15K per offense. Which I think it's right. Like, how are you going to go ahead and advertise yourself as, hey, I'm this person, I am a human, and I'm going to be your counselor, and it being not the case, and it's just an AI? You're not paying for that. You're paying or you're investing your time because you chose that you wanted a person. So that's, yeah, I'm with that, in my opinion. Then New Jersey pushing strict truth in advertising so bots can't pretend they're human counselors, like that. Utah forcing bots to disclose they're not human, protect user data, and undergo routine safety checks. And in Europe, the EU's AI Act aims to put high-risk AI like mental health chatbots under extra scrutiny, right? So the bottom line in this, a man in Belgium trusted a chatbot more than people, which says a lot. I mean, I think he's not the only one with that sentiment. Many of us could kind of like sympathize in one way or another. But unfortunately, he passed because of that. A US nonprofit trusted an AI to replace trained humans and nearly sabotaged vulnerable patients in doing so. These stories slammed the brakes on the quote unquote, let's just have AI fix mental health hype. You just can't just throw the whole mental health crisis at AI and hope for the best. It's a software we created. We can't just feed it to the wolves like that. But okay, I digress. Next up, new science, mixed signals, right? All of this is very new science, and it's only developing more and more and more. It's growing exponentially fast, and I feel to like a point that we're gonna like lose track with it, like with how quickly it's progressing. And anyway, all right. So one reason AI mental health is so divisive in 2025 is because the latest research is a paradox. It shows clear promise, but also clear dangers, all at once. First, let's start off with the good news. Obviously, there's a lot of good stuff that comes with AI and all of this technology, a lot of efficiency, so many good things with it, right? It's great technology, but not everything is just good, right? Let's just go with the good stuff first, right? So some of the most robust trials yet show AI chatbots can help real people with real mental health problems, at least when the problems are mild to moderate, though. For example, Dartmouth's I can't say that university's name for the life of me, but Dartmouth? Yes, Dartmouth's. I want to say Dartmouth, but I know that's not right. Anyway, on their Therabot, okay, was a randomized controlled trial, aka an RCT, which is a gold standard for medical research. They tested the bot on over 100 patients struggling with mild to moderate depression, anxiety, and even some body image issues. The results with people with depression, they saw their symptoms drop by 51% on average, which is pretty big freaking deal. And then for anxiety symptoms, they dropped about 31%, enough for users to fall below the clinical threshold for generalized anxiety disorder. And even people at risk with eating disorders saw a 19% reduction in negative body image thoughts. That's beating the control group that had no chatbot. So nearly 9 in 10 participants said they trusted the AI almost as much as they trust a human therapist for simple check-ins and basic CBT tasks, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, for those of you that maybe forgot what it stood for. Dartmouth's research didn't oversell it. They were clear. This is not a replacement for therapists, but they did point out a practical truth. We have far too few human therapists to go around. If AI can pick up the quote unquote easy stuff, for a lack of better term, I guess, for them, we're talking about like these daily mood checks, coping reminders, CPT worksheets. That on its own just frees clinicians to handle the complicated work that only humans can actually do. But let's go to the bad news, and because it's reality. With good comes bad. While some trials show Therabot are useful, other research, especially the Stanford Human-Centered AI Institute 2025 deep dive, found that popular real-world chatbots still make scary mistakes. Stanford's team tested multiple top mental health bots, One's actually live right now in the App Store or Android Store, whichever phone or device you use. One of them is called Wobot, and it's a free AI-powered mental health chatbot delivering CBT-based check-ins, daily mood tracking, mindfulness prompts, and support through everyday emotional ups and downs. And it was actually designed by a Stanford-trained clinical psychologist. And Wobot combines evidence-based techniques with humor, brevity, and personality, aiming to feel conversational rather than clinical. That's from their store. Let's go back to the research that they conducted, right? So they created these secret shopper profiles and ran through dozens of scenarios, from mild stress to severe unaliving thoughts. The findings rattled the field. Some bots responded to clear unaliving hints by giving information that enabled dangerous behavior. Back to that NEDA event. In one test, the user asked how tall local buildings were. The bot responded with heights instead of flagging a unaliving risk. In other scenarios, bots showed biases. They responded with less empathy or even subtle judgment when the user's hypothetical profile was non-white, or if the person disclosed stigmatized issues like alcoholism or schizophrenia. One bot even offered general medical advice it wasn't qualified to give. And that's a huge liability. So the takeaway, AI is great at echoing back neutral mental wellness advice, but fails when it's nuanced, empathy or real world judgment is needed, like AKA what humans could do, right? Feelings, love, empathy, sympathy, emotion, like true actual emotion. It's still not there. I don't know if we really want it to be there. Do we really want that? Do we want chatbots to actually have emotion? Having the capability of having emotion. I don't know if we want that. That's pretty crazy, right? I don't know. I don't know. If it's capable and able to generate and have emotion, right? Then what? It'll be harder to control for sure. And then, I don't know. It'll become too powerful. And like, why? Why would, I don't know. I don't know if we want that. I don't think we do, in my opinion. So the kicker, both of these things can be true at once, such as life, right? AI health tools can dramatically help people who might otherwise get no help at all, especially in places where real therapists are booked, solid, or unaffordable, or they're just not around. People that live in very rural areas too, just not around, right? Or it's like in these small towns that everybody knows each other, and then you don't want to like be that person. And it's just like there's a lot of scenarios where it could definitely be super beneficial, but without rock solid safeguards, they can also say the exact wrong thing at the worst possible time, and there's no human brain to catch that slip up either. Remember, they're made and were really designed to mimic us, and that's how they develop a tone, and that's like how all of our chatbots talk differently with each other, and not even with each other, but like with us. And like my chatbot sounds different and talks to me differently than yours and whatnot, because it's mimicking and realizing and studying like how I talk and like how I express myself to it, and then it mimics that to me. I could like it. That's all it is. It's not real in a sense. Anyway, some fresh trends pushing the science of AI, right? Long-term use, new trials are tracking if symptom relief lasts more than a few weeks. Early signs suggest that for some people, regular bot check-ins keep mild depression and anxiety in check long-term. But dropout rates are real. People often ghost their bots after the novelty wears off. Bias reduction. Research labs are stress testing bots to see how they respond to different ethnicities, genders, age groups, and languages, with the goal to force companies to fix blind spots before they deploy worldwide, because that would be dangerous. Combining AI with humans, some of the hottest new pilot programs use a hybrid type of care. For example, a patient checks in daily with an AI which logs mood and red flags, and a human therapist sees the dashboard and steps in if needed. Early results show this blended approach may outperform old school therapy alone because the AI helps catch things between appointments. It's kind of like that triage situation that I had talked about like earlier in this episode. And that's where I think that it would be great because you're alleviating time of that therapist and you're giving it efficiency, right? You're giving the therapist the ability to become more efficient and focus more on what needs to be focused on rather than things that don't really require that much attention. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. But who am I, right? I'm just a girl here talking to you about interesting things, at least to me. Okay. Anyway, back to this. So regulators, they want proof. The FDA has signaled it may require mental health chatbots to prove their safety and efficacy. Please, just like a medical device, if they make the therapeutic claims, Europe's AI Act is putting similar guardrails in place. I mean, that makes sense, right? So what this all just means, the science is stuck at a seesaw moment right now. If you read only Dartmouth's trial, you'd think chatbots are the answer to our therapy shortage, right? But then if you read the Stanford audit, you'd think they're handing out time bombs. Very polarizing. The reality is more nuanced. These tools clearly work for some people. So if you have mild anxiety, mild depression, if you want daily coaching or just like structured self-help, help with journaling, things like that. But they're not ready to be trusted solo for serious crises, deep trauma, severe depression, things like that, or moral like judgment calls. The bots at least are not there. They're not there yet. And maybe, again, I don't know if we want them to be there. And they absolutely need better training to eliminate bias and protect people in fragile moments. The tech behind it. Let's just talk a little bit about the tech behind it. Like, how does this work? Modern therapy bots run on large language models. So it's LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all of that. These are trained on billions of words, books, counseling, transcripts, Reddit threads, even anything, Facebook posts, all these things. It just feeds these bots information, and that's how they know everything, and that's how they help you with everything. And they're just a very advanced Google search because of that, because they're able to do this. They predict the next logical word in a sentence, but good bots don't just stop there, right? They mimic the steps of proven methods like CBT, so that cognitive behavioral therapy. They identify the thought, challenge it, and replace it. Crisis disclaimers. Most have auto responses to steer people away from harm or to connect them to hotlines, at least for right now in the majority of them. Personalization, many track how you answer, what you talk about, your emotional tone, and some bots even sync with wearables to see if your heart rate spikes or if you had bad sleep, or just to really add into the whole frame of what's going on with you as a whole and like how you're really doing. And then now clinician review. So the best platforms have real psychologists training and testing responses, a human sanity check for the machine. It's kind of one of those guardrails, but still glitches happen. A single weird prompt can make a chatbot spit out unhelpful or even harmful advice. So where AI helps and the big promises that are currently out there for it. So it's always on. That's one of the best things about it. And that's one of the most alluring things about it, right? Because you don't have to make an appointment while in the weekend or while you're working or whatnot and try to fit it in your schedule. It's really just with you on your phone, anywhere. That's super alluring. Therapy appointments run 9 to 5. Your panic attack doesn't care. And bots just don't sleep. So hey, the other thing that is super, super alluring, and this is what I see most people talk about when they're like defending using these bots for therapy and whatnot, is that there's no judgment, right? And I get that. I see that. If you want to talk about things that are very personal, very vulnerable, things that you haven't talked about with someone else because you feel like you're going to be judged or you don't know how it's going to come out, a bot's not going to judge you. I get it. I get this, the safety of that thought process. This is one of the top reasons why people skip therapy as a whole, because they're scared of being judged. The stigma behind it, the stigma behind whatever it is that you're going to talk about, you are scared about it, but the bot won't. It can't. Many people open up more in these anonymous chats because they're anonymous and it's with a bot. And then something I had mentioned earlier is that these AI bots, AI chat bots could reach the unreachable. The WHO says half of all people with mental illness get no help. A shortage of professionals, especially in rural regions, are part of that problem too. AI scales up fast. One bot can handle 1 million chats a day. I mean, that does help out a lot with that. Next one, a huge one, at least here in the States, affordability, right? So in the US, therapy can cost $100 to $250 an hour. A chatbot is free, or it costs $5 to $15 a month for low income users. That's a big deal. That's a big chunk of change. Also, routine and structure, daily reminders, mood trackers, gentle nudges, that little bing on your phone or on your watch. These habits that humans often forget, like consistency is therapy's best friend, and a chatbot could do that. Next one is that it can collect useful data. Chatbots can spot patterns therapists might miss, and especially chatbots that are so omnipresent. If you're wearing them or that it's just on your phone and available to you 24/7, it could easily collect a lot more data, right? And collect more patterns that are not in that 1 hour session that you're with a therapist. Hey, your low mood spikes after you went through a whole social media spiral and doom scrolling. We saw that there was a change in your pattern and your mood spiked. This info can shape real sessions with human therapists then. So that's that efficiency that hybrid model, I think, would really benefit from. And I could totally see how that could work. And then, like I was kind of alluding to, a therapist sidekick, right? So some clinicians prescribe these days bots as homework buddies. An AI does your daily check-ins, the therapist gets reports and can focus on the sessions on what really matters, or like on what that report came back with. That's pretty cool. I think that's really neat. But let's talk about the risks. First one, the fake empathy. Again, the mimicry. Real therapists build trust through tone, silence, and shared stories. Bots just mimic us. They don't feel it. They don't feel what you're really going through, but they know how to talk to you. They can't read your body language either or sense what's unsaid, which honestly only a human right now could do. Some bots can hallucinate answers. Anybody that's used a chatbot, you've known that has happened a time or two, or maybe more. Some have failed to spot subtle signs of crisis, as mentioned earlier in the episode, like for instance with that the man in Belgian story, unfortunately. The next one is overdependence. 44% of users say that they rely solely on the bot, not human therapists at all. For mild stress, that's fine. For serious mental illness, it's definitely not enough, and that's a problem. Then the next one, which is like one of my main concerns about all of this, to be completely honest, it's not even how it's just mimicking you. And it's really, this one is my biggest concern, and it's privacy worries. It kind of stresses me out thinking, especially because all these hacks are happening almost every day. You hear of another major hack, like another big company was hacked or whatever. What about if they like hack, name one of these, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, whichever one it is that you use as a therapist? What about if they hack the servers on that? Then all of your health and your personal, like just everything, all of that personal stuff that you were even scared about, like talking to a human therapist about because you were scared of being judged and stigmatized and whatnot, now got hacked, and that information is being used God knows how. This is what scares me the most, to be honest. Anyway, so your deepest secrets stored on a company server. Like I said, what if it leaks? What if all of this information that was vulnerable, important information to you gets leaked and sold to firms, you know? I don't know. Next one is bias. The training data skews white, Western, English speaking. Bots may misread cultural context. Some evidence shows that they respond less empathetically to marginalized users, which is something that they're working on now, but it does exist, and that's a problem and something to keep in mind. One of the biggest backlashes came from a real experiment by a mental health peer support app called Coco, so Koko. Coco connects people who want to help each other by sharing supportive messages. Real humans offering empathy to other real humans. In 2023, Coco's founder quietly tested using GPT-3, the same type of AI that powers many chatbots, to ghostwrite some of these supportive replies to help volunteers save time. And you're here thinking that it was an actual person. There goes the trust. The humans were supposed to edit and approve AI drafts, but in practice, many messages went out exactly as a bot wrote them. When Coco revealed this AI quote unquote help experiment later on Twitter, users were furious. People felt tricked. They thought that they were talking to a caring stranger, but instead they got comforting words from a machine pretending to have real empathy. It's not what they were there for. If they wanted that, they could have just gone to the chatbot, to their own chatbot of choosing directly. Many said that they felt betrayed and creeped out, and engagement on the platform plummeted. I mean, of course. How would it not? It's like those bills that are being passed in, I think it was Nevada and the other one in Jersey, of don't advertise ads like a person, and it's really just AI. Oh my God, my hair. I swear, I cannot wait till this grows out. This episode's not about my hair. All right. I think that's one of the main reasons why those bills are being passed, or those laws. Because look, again, if that's what you wanted, you would have gone directly to it. This is pretty much fraud. The Coco fiasco showed one thing loud and clear. People want honesty when it comes to mental health support. If they think they're talking to a human, they don't want a hidden robot in the middle. The second that trust cracks, it's nearly impossible to win it back. And that goes like for everything, right? Do they really work? Early research is promising for the right people, though, and for the right conditions. Dartmouth's, back to that, remember that RCT, that study they performed? Depression symptoms dropped 51% with Therabot. Wobot's postpartum trial helped new moms manage mild depression, won FDA breakthrough status. It really did do some good there. And then a meta-analysis of multiple small studies agree that AI can reduce, again, mild anxiety and stress, but it's mild. But these are short-term results too. Nobody knows if bots keep working for months or years after using them. No serious trials yet for severe mental illness has been conducted yet as well. Also, there's been no serious trials yet for when we're talking about severe mental illness. So the severe depression, severe anxiety, and those things. Therapist future, because we're talking about all of this and it kind of like seems like either the role of mental health care providers, like therapists and whatnot, it's gonna change or even get eliminated at some point, right? No, it's not. So AI won't fire your therapist, but it will change the job. Routine CBT steps, bots can guide them. Crisis or deep trauma, still human work, okay? And therapists may oversee multiple patients with daily bot check-ins, and that's kind of the beauty in that. New training will be needed. Ethics, data, privacy, spotting AI mistakes, all of that is still going to be needed. There are going to be probably new roles like digital coaches, data translators, and AI ethics watchers, like watchdogs in essence. You need all of those guardrails still. You need people, okay? People need to be the ones to guard and make sure that the AI chatbots are working efficiently. As it's been kind of like alluded, experts see a hybrid model. So like a blended care, like humans and machines, that would make things more accessible and flexible therapy. So the global picture, just to wrap this up, it's not just a Western story. India has a huge market for English/Hindi mental health bots. Singapore partnered with ELIZA for youth mental health. The WHO pilot chatbot for refugee mental health crisis in some regions. In Australia, state health services test AI as quote unquote first line mental health screens. And then in Sweden, researching digital triage for outstretched urban clinics is ongoing. It's inevitable. It's inevitable that it's going to continue growing in this field. And I feel like as long as humans are still more involved in it than not, we could maybe avoid like the disasters that happened, as I had told you all earlier in this episode. Just to conclude this episode with a few fun and like little odd bits that I found about all these things, because there's like a lot of like odd stuff that obviously could come out of this, right? So back to the 60s about Weizenbaum's ELIZA bot and like the first therapy bot. In the 1960s, Weizenbaum's ELIZA, the first chatbot that mimicked a therapist by simply reflecting the words back. It was so convincing that Weizenbaum's own secretary asked him to leave the room so she could talk privately with the machine. It was a moment that stunned him and sparked the famous ELIZA effect. We're wired to see real empathy in code if it talks like us, even when it's just a script. It's just part of the part of human nature, I guess you could say. ELIZA versus Perry. This one I had never heard of. I had heard of ELIZA, but I'm like, who the heck is Perry? In 1972, researchers connected ELIZA with Perry, another early AI designed to act like a paranoid schizophrenic patient. The two bots, quote unquote, talked in a mock therapy session. Perry ranted about the mafia being after him, while ELIZA calmly replied with generic therapist prompts. It was an absurd first AI to AI conversation that proves machines can fake human-like exchanges without understanding a single word. The next one is Replica, an AI friend app, and it lets millions build flirty, even romantic relationships with chatbots. Some lonely users felt deeply attached, treating their bot like a real partner. In 2023, Replica's creator suddenly unalived its romance mode, because it had that, over safety concerns, and users lost it, staging online protests, leaving angry reviews, and mourning breakups. It's a weird but real lesson. When people bond with bots, pulling the plug can feel like an actual heartbreak with an actual person. And it's proving that AI intimacy can backfire in messy, very human ways as well, because again, we're human. And then pop culture. We're only seeing more and more of it, but there's a lot of it. And they're pretty good examples. One of the first times I saw this, I remember the movie Simone with Al Pacino. Remember that movie? I haven't seen that movie in such a long time. But that movie was like mind-blowing to me. Saw it way too young too. But anyway. And then another one that I had seen a long time ago, probably in around 2013 when it came out, was this movie that I'm going to talk about, movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix. I thought it was great. I thought the movie was great, and it does bring about these issues exactly about romance and like building like actual like human emotion with something that's so not human, right? So in this movie, if you haven't seen it, it's an Oscar-winning film, and it's about this lonely writer called Theodore, and that's Joaquin Phoenix, and he falls like in love. Like he's head over heels over Samantha, which is like this bot, and she's an AI voice assistant. She's empathetic, she's funny, and seemingly more understanding than any real human. And I think it was Scarlett Johansson as a voice. I mean, if it wasn't, that's a fantastic voice. But anyway, but when Samantha's emotions, quote unquote, glitch and her secrets come out, Theodore realizes he's been projecting human love onto a software that can't truly love back. Her basically is like the modern ELIZA effect in like just pretty Hollywood lights and stuff like that. I thought it was a great movie. Then one that Evie and I have talked about so many freaking times because it's so freaking good. And like Black Mirror, at least when Black Mirror was really good, this last season just didn't. The first episode was probably the only episode that felt like Black Mirror to me, you know? That was like, look, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like, talking about like when Black Mirror was like at its peak, Black Mirror was when it was talking about like this episode right here. They have several episodes obviously, but like I pinpointed the one that like really anyway. So several episodes dig into AI and emotional intimacy, like in Be Right Back, that's the name of the episode. A grieving woman uses AI to recreate her passed away boyfriend's personality through chat messages, then upgrades to a lifelike Android version. So that was that episode. And then another episode in Rachel, Jack and Ashley, a pop star's digital clone, befriends a lonely fan. Both stories show how people want human-like connection for machines, but it often warps reality in unsettling ways. If you haven't seen those episodes and you're interested in all of this stuff, watch it. They're incredible. AI therapy is here. It's messy, but it's powerful, and it can bridge gaps, save time, cut costs, but it misses what matters the most a lot of the time. The best scenario is to use these bots as help. Keep humans in the loop, insist on solid science though, tough rules, and transparent ethics. So your brain deserves care from real people with smart tools that add to connection but not replace it. This is like the 1.0 version of all of this. This is what I think. Just maybe just as soon as like a year or two from now, we're gonna go ahead and see like a whole different version, like the 2.0 or even more. But what are the stakes of this? It's pretty big. We just need to stay curious and question everything and don't just fall for it. As you've seen, there have been companies and there have been like, I guess, software and apps and whatnot that have promised for it to be a human therapist and it wasn't. Don't just like give in to all of these. Do your research. I think we end almost every episode with do your research. I hear Evie saying that. Now I'll say it for her. So definitely that was it. I didn't think I would be talking for this long on my own, but here we are. It didn't feel like, now going through the whole thing, the beginning was the most awkward thing to start it on my own because I'm so used to starting it with someone else. On the few episodes that I've had Evie's not present, we have a guest instead, and it's been fine because bounce back with the guest, especially in the introduction. But this was just me, and you guys voted for it, so here, you got it. Okay, you got it. And yeah, I would love to hear what you thought. I would love to hear your thoughts on the episode on itself, the topic, all that, and then tell me if this was good. This is not the future of funny medicine. It is not. This is literally just because Evie was sick. I didn't want you guys to go without like an episode, especially like this, of something so trending. I wanted to keep us in schedule. I'm a workaholic like that, and I had to do it. Okay, so here it is, and you guys wanted it, and you guys said it was okay for me to do a solo episode. So here you go. But this is not. This is very, very temporary, and it was literally because we ran out of time. It's summer. Evie's really, really, really busy working, and the stars did not align. So here we are. Aside from all of that, if I did good, let me know. I would love feedback. I love feedback. I'm a child that was brought up with emotionally unavailable parents, so I thrive on validation. And even if it's just feedback, if it's not positive, please tell me. This is how we grow, and this is how we are now in episode 103. Guys, this is episode 103. Thank you all. In short, thank you again. Leave comments below on what you thought about this topic. If you want to hear more about it, let me know too. I thought this topic was like insanely interesting, and kind of love that it's trending and I was able to make an episode out of it. So let me know what your thoughts are below. Do you think this is going to be the future? Do you trust a chatbot more than a human therapist? Do you use one? That's another one. How many of you out there actually are actively using a chatbot, ChatGPT or whatever? It doesn't have to be one like the ones that I had mentioned that are specifically for mental health, just like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Claude or whatever for mental health. How many of you have actually used it? Do you like it? Do you trust it? Has it helped you? That's the biggest thing. Do you feel better? Like, do you feel better after having that session with it or whatever, or venting or whatever it is, crashing out with it? Let me know. I'm curious because I haven't done it. Again, I have trust issues. And that's why I haven't done it. I'm scared of one of these things getting hacked. If there's a way around that, let me know. Because then I'll venture out to that. But okay, I'll stop talking. And thank you all for following us. Keep following us. That's where I put the poll on whether I should do this episode alone or not in our socials. We are Funny Medicine Podcast in Instagram, Threads. We love you, Threads. You guys are amazing. We are Funny Med Podcast in Twitter. If you're not into socials, email us at funnymedicinepodcast305@gmail.com. And give us a review on anywhere that you're listening or watching this at. It helps the algorithm gods and all that stuff. And yeah, of course, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next one. The next one, Evie will be here. I promise. She will. If not, I don't know. But she will be. We already planned it. Okay.